Yo, guys, it's Heed. What is up? Look at me with my earrings. I got my sunglasses on. It's the daytime and the sun is way too bright for me. That's right. Hiss sound. It's a hiss sound when I go outside. That's what happens. Plus the snow? I mean, come on. Come on. It's so bright. It's so clean and nice looking. But like in the sunlight, it's like, whoa. It's like you're surrounded by white light in every direction. It's a bit much. I've accepted that I really love my sunglasses. I love my sunglasses. I even wore another layer today. Pretty smart. I put on a nice, like, loose skirt above my pajama pants. As I said, my wardrobe is very limited. I just wear pajama pants and one pair of jeans, just alternate between those. So mostly my look is t-shirt and pajama pants. It's a pretty chill vibe. Casual. Every day's casual at my work. Sometimes I do work from home too. Anyway, okay, the reason why I wanted to make a video today is because I was watching a guy, and I won't say who it is, not that anyone is going to care, but I was watching a therapist who I like. It wasn't Dr. Grande. And he was talking about BPD. And he said he wanted to get the client on side with him, like against the BPD, right? Against, like, I think what he was saying is, like, he didn't want people to identify with, like, I'm a borderline. They didn't want them to see themselves that way, which is interesting to me because, like, I've come to accept the, like, labels, I guess, of autistic and ADHD. I'm good with that. I'm ADHD. I know it. And that seems fine. Like, I'm ready to, like, open my arms to that as an identity for sure. Like, I think that is useful in understanding me, is knowing those things. Anyway, yeah, so he was saying he wants the client to side with him against their borderline traits, like, against these negative effects that they're having, I guess. And I kind of have a hard time accepting that idea. Like, I feel like when I've learned about borderline personality, which is quite a bit, I'm very interested in it. I mean, well, you know the movie Girl Interrupted? Love that fucking movie. Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie killing it. So good. I also read the book about it. And it was really good. And I saw that she is actually an author. It's the girl who was in the mental asylum, like, from the movie. It's a true story. Like, it goes on to say something about how her life turned out a little bit too at the end. And she has 2 other books. I guess she's a writer, I guess. I don't know if that's her main way to make money. Or if that's a starving artist type of profession. I'm not sure. But, like, I'm really interested in her perspective. I always love to see more perspectives. Like, the more different voices of autistic people I've found, like, it's been so satisfying. It's been so nice. It's created such a, like, wide out picture by taking in, I guess that's like seeing the details, but you keep on looking at details so much till it becomes like this big amount of information. Like, it's zooming out. It's like, yeah, now I have a general idea about these things. And, like, I haven't done it as much with ADHD, but I went at it in more of an educational type, I don't know, research and different just videos about ADHD that are more from, like, an educational perspective. The guy has ADHD that I saw, and he's maybe a professor or something. I don't know. But anyway, he's involved with research about ADHD. So he has all these different videos, and it's so fucking good. Right, so that's autism and ADHD identities. Borderline, I guess maybe the borderline idea kind of thinks about the same things as being autistic. Like, you could see how some ways would be confusing, but also, just because you're autistic doesn't mean you're not borderline. Like, there were times when I could almost have said that I would endorse every one. Like, there's 9 criteria in the DSM. There were times when I could endure 7, I think. Like, I was saying yes to 7 of those. Yeah. So I had this real interest in knowing from my therapist, who I, like, let go. I asked if I could be switched to a different therapist. I was very polite. I tried to be tactful. But, so I did switch therapists. But then, because I felt like I had the relief of, like, she wasn't going to be my therapist anymore, that I was like, I don't have to, like, I can just ask her things and not really worry about offending her, I feel like. Because, like, she was my therapist, and, like, admittedly, I'm saying that I didn't really want her as a therapist anymore. That's why I switched. And so, you know, it is understandable to think that I would have some negative feelings towards her, and I guess I do. I think we just didn't really connect. And I wonder if it is that she's neurotypical. Maybe, you know, I think maybe I would have an easier time talking to someone who's autistic. Like, I have now had an autistic counselor, because that was from Autism Nova Scotia. She's actually now left, though. I even remember her name. She was really good. It was so good to talk to someone who's autistic. Like, I felt more like they were likely to understand me if I talk about certain things. Like, things that bother me. Like, I saw that Sensory Overlord was having a video about transitions, and I felt like me and her were kind of talking about that in the comments of her video, I guess. Yeah, it's really tough. Like, one thing I do is if I'm going to go to the store, it feels like part of the problem with, like, I never want to go. If they're like, can you go to the store? It's like, fuck, man, I don't want to go, but I have to. Like, my husband won't go, so I have to do it, and it's fucked up, man. I don't want to have to do it all the time. It'd be nice if sometimes it wasn't me, you know what I mean? Is that just whiny? But I think part of it is the transition, because you have to go from just you're chilling at home, right, to then you're in the van, right? I count that as a transition too. Like, you're getting the van all ready to drive. If you have to clear off the snow, like, for fuck, man. And like, if it was in the morning, and then you drive to the store, which is very close by, and then you have to go to the environment of back outside to in the store. Like, it actually makes me feel better if I walk to the store, because then I just feel like I skip steps. Like, I'm outside, I'm inside chilling, then I'm walking there, then I'm in the store, then I'm walking back. It's just as many things, isn't it? No, but you save yourself the whole hassle of having the vehicle. But the problem is, too, if you decide to walk, well, it could be very cold. And the other thing is, how much stuff are you going to buy if you walk? You don't want to get a big thing of milk then, because you're on foot. Right? Yeah. Ah, shit. Captain Terrible Plan strikes again. I just kind of had it in my head that I was going to do a certain thing after my therapy appointment. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I was trying to be a good one, you know. Do a good job. Don't be a shithead. But I just had it in my head that I was going to do this thing, and I did it. It would have been better if I didn't do it, I think. But it would have made me feel really antsy because I already had the temptation to do it. I don't know. I feel like with me, when I have an impulse to do something, it can be so, like, it's like it has so much sticking power that my impulse to do it is like an itch, and like I just have to do it. It's so hard to not do my impulses. Well, and especially this, it was because it was part of the plan, man. So, like, Captain Terrible Plan, like, takes over. And I just do the thing. Unfortunate. I got a coffee, which was a foolish mistake. But okay, so it's this meeting. It's from 9:30 to 11:30. So obviously in the morning, right? So obviously at those hours, everyone's going to basically bring a coffee. If you don't have a coffee, you're going to be sad because you'll be smelling the coffee. You'll be seeing the Tim's cups, you know? So this time I did think, like, I'm just going to get a coffee. That way I don't feel so tempted. But I'm also on the double dose now. Like, my stimulant drug went up. So it doubled because it went from 10 to 20. So I'm a little freaked out about that drug because they gave me 3 months worth of this higher dose, which is a crap load. What the fuck? It's just one a day. So they give me 90 pills. But apparently they don't. Like, if they were afraid you were an addict, they would not give you that many pills. And it just kind of made me think, like, why did they trust me that I wasn't an addict? Why did they think I'm not an addict? And I know some people will probably think, like, you're not. Your problems are, like, nothing. But the truth is, it isn't nothing because, well, the slippery slope. If there's a drug that I want to do, I go on such a slippery slope with it. Like, first I just do it on the weekend, and then I do it just a little more, and then I start doing it every day, like at the end of the night. Uh-oh. And it seems like every time if I fall back into it, I'm doing it so much again, so quick. Like, the slope is so slippery, man. It's fucked. But I've never gone back to drinking. Well, for one thing, with drinking, I do think that maybe my husband would leave me if I started drinking again, because I am awful when I drink. I did come to realize that, like, the way I am with drinking is just like, dude, it was never good. Just leave it behind you in your dust, man. You're better off without it. Much, much better. It was not even good. But I couldn't really see that when I drank all the time. Well, one thing was, too, like, I'm just not cool with, like, being around someone who's drunk or being around someone who's doing a certain drug. Like, I gotta be doing it, too, or I'm just gonna be, like, hating it. And that is not really a good trait, man. It would be better if it didn't affect me like that. Like, some people do seem perfectly fine, you know, with being around someone who's fucked up. They're just, like, fine with it. But me, it's like, no, I gotta do the thing, too. Yeah. It's so hard, man. I don't know. But yeah, the point of this video was supposed to be, like, I don't know if you should be aligned against your borderline personality disorder. Like, the traits don't sound that good, but I think it feels like it's so much about, like, who you are, like, the way you think. Like, being sensitive, for instance. See, that's a thing, in autism, too. Like, highly sensitive. Even highly sensitive person, too, is associated with autism, right? And I know that I am highly sensitive. People call me sensitive. I would, like, cry easily, like, emotionally sensitive, like, vulnerable, kind of. Well, part of the problem is I just really like people. Like, a lot of them. Basically anyone that I've ever met, I'm like, yeah, that was one of the good ones, you know? Like, basically everyone. I'm like, that was a cool person. I mean, sometimes you're like, I don't know about that person, but I think I am kind of good at judging people, and I just like them. I'm interested in them. Well, I study humans, you know. I've been studying them all this time. I mean, I am, how old am I, 35? Turning 35? Are we turning 36? It's my husband's birthday soon. Yeah. All these years of studying humans, and I did try to study, you know, in a lot of different situations. Like, one thing I found interesting is how you can get to know people without ever knowing, like, anything about their living situation, or like you're not a friend of theirs, but you do kind of get this eye into their life in a way, as a gas station cashier. Because people will come in and say different things to you, and there's, like, regulars, right? So sometimes you hear from a person quite a bit. You get kind of a sense of them a bit. Like, I love the idea of regulars. I remember noticing that at a different, like when I was in a grocery store as a cashier too. My ability to mask is better in a scenario where you just like say a few things. You say like the same thing every time. That place even said like to be genuine, and that totally works for me for the most part in a customer service job, because I'm just really, I like people. I'm not rude, you know, like I really honestly care when I talk to them. I pay attention to what they say. Like, I am there to listen. It's really cool. I felt like I made so many friends at those different jobs too, and like with the other employees too. I don't know. To me, people are just endlessly fascinating. And today I thought that I was going to have a chance. I was excited to hang out with this girl, my friend who I'd already known, but she's in the same therapy group as me. But I didn't discuss this plan with her. I was just going to ask her. I thought we would walk out together or something from this meeting. But by the time I got downstairs, I guess she was way ahead of me. By the time I got downstairs, like I have to take an elevator. I saw her getting into a cab. I'll have to save her next time. Like, I can give you a ride home. She just lives in town here, so. But I was disappointed I didn't get to hang out with her because I thought that we would do something together, and I thought it was going to aid in like having more of a connection with her. But today she did say at the meeting how me and her were friends. Like, I said during it that like I had been excited that I was like talking to someone and socializing with this person who I knew from DBT group, because I just never talked to anyone. And it feels like there's not that much of a chance to talk to my husband because, like, well, a lot of times it's like in front of the kids and it's like you have to be careful what you say and you don't want to like get into a fight. I can be kind of snide sometimes too. Well, I can let things build up and like get resentful about things. Like, I do pull a lot of weight in the like household stuff. Like, I do a crap job taking care of my fucking cat. I love my cat so much. I caught him and put a bow tie on him. He is extremely cute. He's a fine gentleman. I'm pretty sure when I spoke to my landlord, like when I was applying, I said on there that he was a gentleman cat, right? To sell him as like, oh no, this is a very polite pet. He is, he, on the contrary to how that makes it sound, he is a troublemaker. He does, well, you always want to get boxes for him. If you put a piece of paper on the floor, he may chew it up. So, like, my kids have to be careful not to leave homework or, like, important papers on the floor because he might chew it up. Like, he's chewed up stuff of ours before. What a guy. He's funny. He loves the jingly balls. He's chasing jingly balls all around. He's adorable. I can't remember why I started talking about my cat now. Yeah, this video is, I guess, a bit long now. I don't know if I made my point really or not. Bye!